All right. We're in a home stretch here, kids. This will be our last segment for the day. You know, the problem that we have in our country are really reaching a crescendo. I saw this article this morning that I thought worthy of sharing with you in light of a couple of things. First of all, it was in the Stars and Stripes, which is the official military publication. Secondly, it brought out this story that the Pentagon is to destroy $1 billion in ammunition. And third, it exposes their mismanagement of a system that says the Army's got more ammunition than it needs, but the Marines don't have enough. But there's no way for the Marines to know the Army is about to destroy their excess rounds when the Marines are literally standing there, throwing rocks. I mean, you got to be kidding me. With the trillions of dollars that we spend, you guys can't come up with a database that says the Army's got an extra 600 million rounds that nobody knows about and we're about to destroy because we don't need them. Why you wouldn't need ammo is... the whole thing is just so ridiculously stupid. It just infuriates me. But to make matters worse, there's a federal law that prohibits the military from destroying these things and says that when there is an excess or some particular type of ammunition has become obsolete, that it has to be distributed back to the public through sale. That brass, as an example, has to be distributed to the general population so people can either take the brass and reload it or whatever. Why? Because we have this cool thing called the Second Amendment that, for all intents and purposes, delineates your natural and God-given right to defend yourself and your family and our country from a government in tyranny. But lately, the government hasn't been doing that. All the brass has been being destroyed in direct contravention of law. But the law doesn't matter unless it's applied to the peasantry, you and me. That's the only time it matters. If you're a congressman, if you're anyone in government, if there's a policy that's out there that benefits you, they just ignore it. If you're a member of an agency, you can sit out there and do all the treasonous email you want, like Lois Lerner, and you can sit there and violate the law 9 ways from Sunday, and nobody cares. But of you lousy 2-bit peasant, you peon, you do one thing, cross that line once, and you're mine. They're going to destroy $1 billion worth of ammunition. We paid for $1 billion. Now, all of it is not small arms ammunition. Some of it is, missiles and stuff like that. Which, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, there should be nothing, and by our own founders' statements, there should be nothing that we're prohibited from ownership of. Nothing. Nothing. The reason is because our job is to defend the Republic from the same tyrants who are about to destroy $1 billion worth of ammo, lest they let it fall into our peasant hands. The article is interesting because First and foremost, you should look at stripes.com. That's the website for Stars and Stripes. And the reason that you should is because it exposes a lot of ridiculous stuff. One of the other headlines out here is the Department of Defense ordered $754 million in unnecessary parts last year. The Senate wants answers from the Pentagon on why they spent $54 million on parts they didn't need. You know, we wonder why we have fraud and abuse, stupidity, ineptitude, impotence. So it's a worthwhile rag to read, even if you're not in the military or never were. But the truth is that, because it's a good source of news, that's why. But the truth is that this particular one is just stunning to me. The Pentagon plans to destroy more than $1 billion worth of ammunition, although some of those bullets and missiles could still be used by troops, according to the Pentagon and congressional sources. It's impossible to know what portion of the arsenal slated for destruction, valued at $1.2 billion. It's actually more than $1 billion. It's $1.2 billion. That's $1.2 billion. And it's impossible to know what portion of that arsenal remains viable because the Defense Department's inventory system can't share data effectively. And that's according to the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, which is supposed to be this nonpartisan, What? The word nonpartisan makes me want to puke. The result, a potential waste of unknown value. Tom Carpenter, senator from Delaware. There is a huge opportunity to save millions, if not billions of dollars, if the Pentagon can make some common sense improvements to how it manages ammunition. Despite the years of effort, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force still don't have an efficient process for doing something as basic as sharing excess bullets. This Government Accountability Office report clearly shows that our military's antiquated systems lead to millions of dollars in a wasteful ammunition purchases. You know, the Army and the Pentagon, in a joint statement, acknowledged the need to automate the process. And they'll make it a priority in future budgets, which, of course, they need additional money to compete. I mean, the Pentagon manages a stockpile of conventional ammunition worth $70 billion. $70 billion in ammo. And by the way, the Department of Homeland Security is buying their own supply because, well, they're our domestic army. Right. You know, this is the army that Barack Obama promised us that he would create, right? The one that was as well-funded and well-equipped, but a domestic one. It's called the Department of Homeland Security. And it's in violation of everything that our founders understood, including the standing army principle, which has already been violated by the DoD and the Pentagon. But now they're putting it under the direct supervision of Barack Obama and his minion ideologues, his little imps of evil. So now they're going to destroy $1 billion worth of ammunition, not because they don't need it, because they don't know if they need it. Hello. Let's see. We got $1.2 billion worth of ammo, and we don't really know if we need it or not. So let's just destroy it, and then we can order more to replace it. The effective inaccurate accounting of ammunition for troops at war was outside the scope of the study by the GOA. However, there were limited supplies at times of .50 caliber machine gun and 9mm handgun ammo at the height of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, according to a senior military officer. We simply cannot afford this type of waste and ineffectiveness, says Carper. The Pentagon has a responsibility to The Pentagon has a responsibility to efficiently manage its ammunition stocks, not only because it's important to be fiscally responsible. That goes without saying. But also because our antiquated ammunition inventory systems can shortchange our warfighters and compromise their ability to complete their mission. Other key findings of the report. Listen to these. And tell me this is not a government that has completely is operating in such a fantasy land, it's inconceivable. Bullet 1. The services have inventory systems for ammunition that cannot share data directly, despite working for decades to develop a single database. Huh? Google has databases that share. It's insane. It's a lie. It's what it is. Only the Army uses the standard Pentagon format. Well, that would be a problem. And if they've been working at it for decades to solve the problem, a couple of decades ago, why didn't they say everybody's got to use the same format and eventually it would catch up? Hello? Only the Army uses the standard Pentagon format. The Air Force, the Navy, and the Marine Corps operate with formats that are obsolete. You know what? This is such a pile of BS because there is big data management out there that can take this crap and turn it into a report that could spit it out in human language, not machine language, editable, readable, understandable English. I don't buy it. It's a bunch of crap. It's hogwash. It's a lie. And the truth is, if they've been doing this for decades, then every damn one of them who's been involved in it should be hung for what? Malfeasance. Bullet 2. The services hold an annual conference to share information about surplus ammunition and to swap bullets and other munitions as needed. So let's see. We have a big garage sale or a swap meet once a year. The Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Army all get together and they say, I got 600 million bullets over here. If anybody need them? Hey. Bullets, 50 cal. The guy over there says, no, I got 9mm over here. A little stock market. The data about ammunition left over after the meeting disappears from the books, resulting in an unknown amount of good bullets headed to the scrap heap. You see, our founders would have found trees and would have traded a couple of those bullets off for some coiled lengths of rope. The Army, bullet point 3, although required by regulation, has not reported annually on its missile stockpile until last month, just before the GAO study was about to be released. Okay, so I want to know who in the Army is ultimately responsible to submit that report, and then I want him thrown in the brig, and I want him charged with treason. Yes, treason. The report illustrates the obsolete nature of the Pentagon's inventory systems for ammunition. A request for ammunition from the Marine Corps, for example, is emailed to the Army. The email is printed out and then manually retyped into the Army system because the services cannot share the data directly. Ladies and gentlemen, I could fix this with an Excel spreadsheet. It's inexcusable, reprehensible, inept. The article goes on to say, not only is this time-consuming, but it can introduce errors by an incorrect keystroke. Waste, buying new ammunition, while usable stockpiles exist, can occur. You're kidding me. No, really? Quote, because the Army does not report information on all available and usable items. The annual conference among the services, although it saves about $70 million per year, is inadequate. The services in fiscal 2012 exchanged 44 million items, including 32 million bullets for machine guns and pistols. Specifically, the Army's report does not include information from prior years about usable ammunition that was unclaimed by another service and stored for potential foreign military sales or slated for potential disposal. Okay, why are we selling ammunition to foreign militaries or disposing of it when there is a clear and specific law that says it should be redistributed back to the American population? Missiles and other sources for concern are another source of concern, says the report. The Army has an inventory of missiles, including Stingers, Javelins, and Hellfires, that has totaled more than $14 billion in recent years. Hellfire missiles have been a weapon of choice for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and in the CIA-run Predator and Reaper drone missions to kill terrorists in places like Yemen, Chicago, Washington State, of course, not D.C. People, I don't know how. I'm so mad about that. I don't know how you guys sit on the other end of this microphone and don't have bald spots from tearing your hair out. You know, I've had people comment to me and say, I used to listen to your radio show, but I can't take it in the morning because I'm mad all day long. Or I can't listen to you at night because then I can't sleep because I'm mad. And I hope I have that effect on people. Why? Because I'm not interested in anything other than your awakening. And if what it takes to awaken you is anger, then so be it. But this is so far outside the scope of anything that a nation should be dealing with. This is so far outside. Look, for the hundreds of billions of dollars a year we pump into the Pentagon, and they can't keep track of the dagnab bullets, somebody's responsible. And I want his ass. Do you get this? Is this not reprehensible action? Look, if government, for all the hundreds of billions of dollars annually that we spend on them, can't go out and go to a company like ARIA, A-R-R-I-A. ARIA can go out there and take data from disparate wellheads all over the country. They can take it from tens of thousands of weather stations and literally take that data and turn it into a report that shows up that says it's likely to snow tonight in English. So why can't they hire them and say, you know what, here's a couple of $100,000, fix the problem? Because they don't want to fix the problem. That's why. Because if they fix the problem, a lot of people's gravy train stops. And that is treason. Aiding, abetting what enemy? The enemy of you. The enemy that steals your money. The enemy that steals your freedom. The enemy that steals your liberty. You say, that's not a real enemy. Neither is the enemy of fear that they're pumping into your brain about how Al-Qaeda is so dangerous that they've got to listen to your phone call between you and your Aunt Tilly about how many kittens were born last night. But it's okay for them to use a phantom fear, right? Let me tell you something, America. This country is awash in treason. Every department, every agency, every member of government, up to their eyeballs in it. Some of them could artfully say, I didn't even realize it. But anybody who uses the excuse, I was just doing my job and doing what I was told, should be hung from the nearest yardarm. I've had enough. You see, the problem here is simply this, ladies and gentlemen. The nation is awash in traitors. Traitors to the nation because they either benefit, they have a job that they want to keep, because they like their little house in Virginia or they like their little house in Chicago that you're paying for with this inflated, bloated salary, this massive pension benefit that they're going to get that nobody in the private sector gets, with all the bennies that you're paying for. And all they're interested in is, how can I bloat and grow this department I'm in? That's bureaucracy. That's the very nature of it. That's why our founders warned us, don't let it happen. We've allowed it to happen. Granted, supplanted with a lot of drugs and a lot of mind control and a lot of misinformation, propaganda, disinformation, and abuse. But you know what, America? It's time to stop it. And there's no shining armor. There's no knight. There's no white horse. There's no cavalry going to ride to our rescue. None. The only thing that's going to ride to our rescue is us. And I think it's high time we got on our horse. You've been listening to America's Voice Now. I got to tell you, folks, when the government defies the laws that they hold you accountable for, there is no law and you are under no obligation to follow it any longer. The rule of law is dead. The Bill of Rights is dead. The Constitution is dead. And like our founders originally told us, when it gets to a point where we are under a systematic despotism, then we are not only allowed, permitted, we are obligated. Obligated. To set in place new guards for our security. All of it, all of them have to go. Dishonorably discharged. The ringleaders exiled from the nation. Harsh, you say? I don't really care. It's time we became just as harsh as they are, because they're planning your demise. Bank on it. All right, you've been listening to America's Voice Now. Email me. Share this video. Share the ones from before. Educate and inform those people around you. Stop sitting on your hands. Stop wringing your hands in frustration and do something. Fight back. And get off the dag-nabbed antidepressant pills. Your little happy unicorn pill. Email me at mike@americasvoicenow.org.